Yo, what's up, guys? Corpus Colossum here. Today we're going to be talking about Billy Woods and his latest album, Aethiopes. Aethiopes is a eschatological and poetic masterpiece that denies interpretation on the first listen and is as complex historically as it is sonically, with preservation making the beats and absolutely killing it as always, with samples from across the entire globe, and Billy Woods' lines requiring multiple listens and multiple readings to fully digest and to fully cope with. And his references to Pan African history and philosophy are as complex as ever and require, like I said, multiple listens to fully understand. I'm not claiming to have fully understood this album, nor am I claiming to have the right perspective on this album. But I think I have an interesting opinion on what this album is trying to say. And so I think a good place to start is the album cover. The album cover is a Rembrandt painting. Rembrandt was a Dutch impressionist painter from the golden age of Dutch exuberance, the embarrassment of riches, as it's called, where from the mid 16th century to the mid 17th century, the Dutch Navy had a grip on world trade, and their slave trade enabled them to uh, amount a vast richness that they almost didn't know what to do with. And up until the British Navy took over in the mid 17th century, the Dutch were at the heart of the global slave trade. Um, so the painting really reminded me of the Susan Buck Morris article Hegel and Haiti, which I talked about in regards to Mark Hamy and his music in a former video of mine. Because in the beginning of this article, she talks about this era in Dutch painting where these African slaves were being depicted in the family, and they were in England and the Netherlands at the time. They were held, African children were held in the house almost as a luxury item for Europeans to display to their friends of the upper classes as this exotic item that not everyone could own. And I think what Billy Woods is trying to say here is that blackness is very much defined by Europeans and is still to this day, blackness is commodified and defined by Europeans, especially here in America and with rap, which we'll get to. But one of the lines is in the album, Billy Woods mentions how he feels as if he's in the museum, but he's on the wrong side of the glass with all these eyes peering at him. And that's very much what it's like to live in America as a rapper. You have all these white people looking at you and trying to commodify you through the industry, and are successfully commodifying a lot of black artists through the industrial reproduction, the algorithmic reproduction of these internet rappers that are commodified and that exemplify some of the worst aspects of living in America. And I think Billy Woods is fed up with it, and he's making the case here that we are continually living in the dream of the other in America, and are having to be tailored to the image of blackness by Europeans in rap, especially. The name of the album, Ethiops, is the name that Europeans use to for Africans, and they essentially just compiled an entire continent of people into one single mass to be exploited. And I think what the same thing that we use now is the word rapper. Rapper has almost taken on this form of like a descriptive term for a white person's image of a black person. Kanye talks about this in a clip where he says that he thinks the new N word is rapper. And the point I think that Billy Woods is making is that now in this hyper commodified reality, we are being sold this image of blackness that is degrading the experience, and is very much caused by the economic hardship put onto the world by capitalism. And it's very much a post 2008 type sound with mentions of paying rent and struggling to pay rent and financial struggle against the system. And I think what he's trying to do here is similar to how the Dutch era was part of the shift from mercantilism to capitalism. We've now, in post 2008, we've entered this shift from capitalism to techno feudalism, where tech companies now offer platforms for people to display their art and their work and function as markets outside of the capitalist system, because they no longer require profit to function. Yanis Varoufakis talks about this idea. He's the one who coined the term, because these cloud elitist companies like Facebook, Amazon, Uber, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify a lot of these companies aren't profitable. They don't fit into the traditional capitalist idea of what a company is, because they make their money not off of the product that they produce, but rather the cloud-based decisions that people operating in their markets make and feed into their algorithms. So they make their business off the data of people. And I think what Billy Woods is saying here is that we're entering a new age of a new economy where our decisions are and our own lives are the commodity, and our livelihood and our experience is being turned into data for algorithms that are used then to produce this industry of culture, this sameness that gets plastered across modern rap, where you have this algorithmic process of generating new rappers through social media marketing and through various other techniques that totally degrade the experience of rap into this hyper commodified, bite-sized version, easily consumable for white audiences to look at in a museum, like what he says. And it commodifies the Black experience and especially minimizes it to the point where hustle and grind culture gets put as the forefront and as the main message. So the Black experience gets commodified and further turned into a capitalist message about hustling and making it out the hood and fuck all these poor people. And Billy Woods is saying, whoa, guys, we're going about this wrongly. We should be denying this commodification, and we should be striving for self-representation. Now, he is part of a label, but it's not one of these massive labels. It's not one of these hyper-commodified industry labels. It's a network of more underground type artists. And so I think the main thread of this album is struggling to, live in a capitalist reality, being poor, and then on the other side of the coin, having this mainstream version of rap that is honoring all the worst parts of capitalism and is allowing white people to attach their fantasies and dreams of capitalism onto the Black experience. And this album also is just riddled with literary references to Deleuze and to Nietzsche, and is very deep in that sense. He also has a critique of the social justice warriors and how their message is being co-opted by corporations and then being sold to us as a way to almost to relinquish ourselves of the horrors of colonialism by co-opting these messages of equality in the things that we consume. And he's very much against that, and he points out that this commodification of the social inequalities is the commodification of it is precisely the corporations that are doing it are precisely the ones that are at the forefront of it, and are the ones who are exploiting us in that very literal sense, and then selling things under the guise of Black History Month or LGBTQ stuff to then bring their message in a co-opted manner in that way. And overall, I think this is just a brilliant album because it captures the melancholy of our current age, where we are littered with advertisements and we are littered with the idea of self-expression and becoming yourself through commodity consumption. And it reminds us of the literary depth that rap as a genre is very much indebted to, and we need more of this stuff out there.